my channel, it's Kazzy here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I have multiple copies of. I know you're probably thinking, multiple copies? Why would you have more than one copy of the same book? But I used to ask myself that question when I was younger, and then I realized that there are multiple copies of different books. There's different covers that are beautiful, and sometimes they just release books that are different and they're just like, I need to have them, and let's just face it, I have no self-control whatsoever. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books that I have different copies of, whether that's a hardback version or a paperback version or just a different cover altogether. And so yeah, without further ado, let's just get into them. I'm going to start with the book that this entire video was inspired by, and that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. You've probably seen this book a couple of times on my channel. I got this book back in April, I believe, when I first heard about it on BookTube, and this is the UK hardback edition, and it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love this cover so much. And underneath the dust jacket there are different versions of it. I'll show you now. This is what I mean. Underneath the dust jacket right here, there's this design underneath it. There are different versions of it. I have the clock one, there's a dress one I believe, and there is like a carousel as well, and I absolutely adore this. I'm not gonna like get all different versions of this, but I love this book so much that I actually got it in a different edition and a different language. So this is the international version of Caraval. This is actually in Spanish. I can read Spanish. I'm not the best at reading Spanish, but I do enjoy reading things in Spanish. And so this is Caraval in Spanish, and that's the back of it where it has a ticket. And unlike the UK edition of Caraval, this just has this blue hardback with just text and then just this little design on the back of it. And generally I just love this edition because it's blue, and one of my favourite colours in the entire world is blue. This video was inspired by the release of the paperback edition, and it is this guy right here. It is literally just the UK edition with just this big top on the bottom and this beautiful spine, but the pièce de résistance about this is sprayed edges. The edges are sprayed red, and I was absolutely a sucker for this. This actually came out early for me. I pre-ordered it from Waterstones and it came early. I got this on the 27th. It actually isn't released until the 30th, I believe, which is going to be already out by now when I actually get around to posting this. But oh my goodness, this is just beautiful. It's the exact same book, but it's just a different edition, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. It's just red and beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And yeah. The next book that I'm going to show you is one that I have 2 editions of, and that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. That's not... what's that one? Why are we in the wrong order? Fail. The next book I have to show you I have 2 copies of, and that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is the original one with the floating girl on the cover, and then I have the mass paperback edition from the release of the movie, because we have Eva Green on the cover as Miss Peregrine, but this one is in Spanish. Like with Caraval, I wanted to read one of my favourite books in Spanish. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is that. It's one of my favourite books ever. I absolutely love it, and so I want to read it in Spanish. I haven't got around to it yet. And so as I said, this has the movie poster on the front of it. I didn't get it in this one because half the ones that I saw with the original cover on it still said it in English, so I wasn't entirely certain that it was going to arrive with the Spanish text on the inside. And so because this one says El Jugar de Miss Peregrine para Niños Peculiares, I just decided to get this one instead, just to guarantee that I was going to get the Spanish version. Like with Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, this next book I have to show you I have 2 copies of, and that is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy, and you're probably wondering why get the second book by itself, why not get the entire series? Good question, but that's because I couldn't find the entire series with this cover, and that is this one right here. It is absolutely stupendous. It is gorgeous. It is just screaming at my soul to buy me. It just did. And just look at this foiled detail on it. It has the Mockingjay symbol, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. I'll find this in Waterstones, and I just could not resist it. I couldn't find Hunger Games or Mockingjay, which I'm sure will have like corresponding colours, you know, like Hunger Games in the orange and Mockingjay in the blue, but I just had to get this one because it's just so fucking gorgeous. And if you didn't already know, Catching Fire is my favourite one out of the entire Hunger Games trilogy. I love the entire concept of Catching Fire. I love the arena in Catching Fire. I love the whole Court of Quell in it. It was just fantastic, and it's actually my favourite movie in the trilogy as well. I'm still sick. The next book I have to show you, I have 4 copies of, and I don't even know why I have all the 4 because it's not one of my favorite books in the entire world. I just think I got caught up in the hype of it. And that is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I have this version that I got back in 1999 when I first started reading it. My headmaster was actually reading this to my P7 class, and so I wanted to read along with him. I also have this version that I got back in January when I decided, right, I'm going to start reading the series and read the entire thing. So I got this one. And then when the 20th anniversary came out, I got 2 of the house covers, and so I've got Slytherin in the paperback, and then I got Ravenclaw in the hardback because I am Ravenclaw. I did do Pottermore, and I am Ravenclaw. And so I'm not a huge fan of Harry Potter. I do enjoy the series. I've read up to Order of the Phoenix, and boy, that was a struggle, let me tell you. That was a struggle. So hopefully I will finish the series next year. I'm not in any hurry to finish it, but I don't know why I have 4 of them. I guess, as I said, I just got caught up on the hype of these ones. The next book I have to share with you is one that I also have 2 copies of, and that was one of my favorite reads from this year. And that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the UK edition, and this is the UK paperback edition that I got in W.H. Smith when I was going through the airport, and I read it and I absolutely loved it. And then I saw this one when I got home in Waterstones, and yes, it's the exact same one, but this is hardback, and the edges are sprayed blue. If you forgot earlier in the video, I said that blue is one of my favorite colors. This book is literally entirely blue with gold on it, and the edges are blue, so it's pretty much a no-brainer that I was going to be getting this. And this is the one that's going to stay in pristine condition. This is one that nobody is ever going to touch or ever going to read, because this one is going to be the one that's going to be lent out to people, because let's face it, I probably will be shoving it down their throat saying, read it, read it, read it, read it, because I absolutely loved it. And I know some people didn't particularly like this. It's a bit heavy, it's a bit of a slow burner. But to me, oh my goodness, I absolutely love this book. It was a no-brainer that I was going to get more than 1 copy of it because it's just beautiful and it's blue. Oh, the blue, just give me all the blues. And the last book that I have to share with you is one that I have 4 copies of, one being an audiobook, and that is Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew. If you don't know, Kate Mulgrew is one of my favorite actresses of all time. I've been a fan of her since I was 11 years old. She is Captain Catherine Janeway to me from Star Trek Voyager. And most people now know her as Galina Resnikoff, aka Red from Orange is the New Black. I absolutely adore her beyond words. And so when I knew that she was writing a book, I was beyond excited. I'd been waiting for about 10 years for her to write a book. Like, even though by that point I'd been a fan of hers for 15. This was when, like, YouTube was becoming a thing, and I could watch convention videos of hers, and like the way she tells stories is just hysterical. I was reading magazine articles and newspaper articles and just anything that TotallyKate.com had on its database. I was reading it and devouring it, and I just absolutely adored this woman beyond words. And so as soon as I knew her book was coming out, I had pre-ordered it from Amazon.co.uk, but then the release date kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and I was getting furious. I was getting fed up. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go from Amazon.com and order it. I did that, and so this was the first edition that I ever had of her book. I absolutely love it. It's hardback. It has this beautiful photo of Kate that her brother took, and it's just gorgeous, and it's so cute, to be perfectly honest. And underneath it, it is this just gorgeous white book with Born with Teeth, Kate Mulgrew in gold lettering along the spine. It is just beautiful. And there's the woman herself, her author portrait. I love it. So this was the first edition that I ever had of her. I lent it out to my best friend when I got. But the thing was, this has little red dots all over with a dust jacket, and I'm furious about that. I don't know where they came from. So then that's when I ordered the paperback, just so I could have it in hardback and paperback. I had this one from last Christmas that I just basically gifted to myself, because why not? It's Kate Mulgrew. This one is different because it has this blurb down here and national bestseller up there. And then when I noticed that the dust jacket on the hardback had different red spots on it that I didn't know where they came from, I decided, right, I'm going to repurchase it. That one is going to be the one that's going to be lent out, or I can make little notations and citations on. I can highlight and just, you know, do the English literature student thing. And so I went on to Amazon and decided to get another hardback edition. And then this chunker came through the door. This is in large print. Like, and I mean large print. You can probably read that from here. And so I was kind of like, what? It was the only thing that they had on Amazon. This was the only edition that they had on Amazon beyond that and the paperback and the ebook. So then I told one of my colleagues about it and she's like, well, now you can read it when you're 60 years old. And I'm like, I like the way you think. Now, when I'm older, I can read this again, and because my glasses are going to be Coke bottle thick by that point. So I'm not so furious about it now, but I really do want a proper hardback version of the book just to have it pristine. It's actually impossible now for me to find a normal size print version of this book. Literally most places now have the large print and I'm like, why? I have the audiobook of Born with Teeth and it is actually read by Kate Mulgrew herself, and that made it all the more powerful. I don't know about you, but because when I'm reading it by myself, I'm like hearing the sentences the way I would read it. I was hearing the things that people were saying to her the way that I would say it. I wasn't hearing it the way that she was hearing it, the way she heard it, and the way she remembered it. And so whenever I was listening to the audiobook, that just made it all the more powerful, and I absolutely love the audiobook. I love Kate Mulgrew's voice. She could literally read the phone book to me and I would be in heaven. I thought I knew all the nuances and timbres of her voice, and so when I was listening to this, I was like, I'd never heard that tone in her voice before. I'd never heard that in her voice before. I would highly recommend the audiobook as well. And because I'm an idiot, I forgot one book that I had 2 copies of, and that is Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. This is my original copy that I got from when it came out, and this one is actually signed by Ransom Riggs. And then this is the new paperback edition that came out just a couple weeks ago, and this one has a brand new tale from the world of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and it is, I've already read it and it is awesome. And it's a pretty new cover too. It's awesome. I forgot, and then life would change, and so now back to your regularly scheduled program. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the books that I have multiple versions of. Let me know in the comments down below what books you have multiple versions of. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you liked this video. It was such a fun thing to do. It was just something different. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!